10 fire orders and 18 situations that shout watch out. Always remember, lookouts, communications, escape routes, safety zones, LCES. This is the key to the 10 and 18. 10 fire orders. Number 1. Keep informed on fire weather conditions and forecasts. Weather is the number one factor affecting your fire's behavior. It's the one thing that can change in an instant. Know what it's doing now, know what it's going to do, and plan around it. Number 2, know what your fire is doing at all times. Observe personally, use lookouts. If you cannot personally see the fire, post lookouts. Especially post lookouts if there's a potential for severe fire behavior or extreme fire behavior. Your lookout should be somebody who's more experienced, probably one of the most experienced people on your team, so that they recognize what's going on and they're able to report that to you succinctly. Number 3, base all action on current and expected behavior of fire. This goes to plan your fire and work the plan, Never ever approach a wildfire without a plan of attack. Number 4, have escape routes for everyone and make them known. Every team you have on that fire should have a way to get away from that fire in the event of a burnover. Most of the time, especially when you're working the flanks, you're going to be working 1 foot in the black, and that's just fine. That works most of the time. But if you're in a situation where there's a higher risk for canopy fire and burnover and so forth, you may need to plan to have a better safety zone and set up escape routes to that. Communicate where they are, flag them, communicate the color of the flagging. Let everybody know. Number 5, post a lookout when there is possible danger. Well, we already kind of covered this. When we talk possible danger, you're talking about the potential for extreme fire behavior. Plan for it. If there's a greater risk, pay attention to the Haynes Index. Watch that, because that can give you a very good indication if there's potential for extreme fire behavior. Look for whirlwinds, dust devils, leaves getting carried way up in a column of air. That's another great indicator. You get these situations, post lookouts for sure. Again, a lookout should be one of the most experienced people on your team. Number 6, be alert, keep calm, think clearly, act decisively. Ladies and gentlemen, if you panic on the fire line, you're probably going to die. That's the bottom line. Keep your head out there. Keep cool and just keep it together. Number 7, maintain prompt communication with your men, your boss, and joining forces. Communication is of paramount importance on a fire. You need to be able to communicate important information in a timely fashion to everyone who needs it. Let everybody know what your plan is, why this is your plan, and what you hope to accomplish. Let everybody know these things. Number 8, give clear instructions and be sure they are understood. Again, this goes back to number 7. When you're giving instructions, tell everybody this is what the plan is. This is why this is the plan, and this is what we hope to accomplish. Number 9, maintain control of your men at all times. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where this wasn't the case, but I can't imagine fighting a fire with men off doing whatever they want to do and wherever they want to do it and how they want to do it. You guys are a team. You need to work together as a team. Keep men together and make sure that they're following the plan. Number 10, fight fire aggressively, having provided for safety first. If you follow all the other 9 fire orders, this one should go without saying. And again, LCES, lookouts, communications, escape routes, safety zones. Remember these, they are the key to the 10 and 18. 18 situations that shout, watch out. Fire not scouted or sized up. How can you make a plan on your fire if it has not been scouted and sized up? You need to know where your fire is, which direction it's burning, what it's burning toward, the type of terrain, the type of fuels. You need to know all of these things. You need to consider the weather. You need to consider how the weather might change. Anything to the smallest detail that could affect that fire, so that you can make the plan of attack and get the resources there that you need to successfully control that blaze. Number 2, in country not seen in daylight. If you are in a location in the dark that you've never been in the daylight, you're in unfamiliar territory, you're probably 10 times more likely to get hurt at night than you are during the day, especially in that situation. 3, safety zones and escape routes not identified. We discussed earlier, most of the time your escape route and safety zone is 1 foot in the black. Sometimes that can't be the case. If it can't be the case, you need to find safety zones where people can get to in a hurry relatively easily and mark those escape routes to get those people there. Communicate them and let everybody know. Number 4, unfamiliar with weather and local factors influencing fire behavior. If you don't know what your fire weather is, find out. Look around, look at maps. You need to know what your terrain is, you need to know what your fuels are. Anything that can affect the behavior of that fire, you need to be aware of it. Even if you're just a lowly rakeman, you need to know, just in case. Number 5, uninformed on strategies, tactics, and hazards. When you guys are getting your instructions, or if you're the one giving the instructions, make sure everyone understands what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you hope to accomplish, as well as any hazards you might meet up with along the way. If somebody happens to notice that there's a widowmaker, in the area where you're going to be working, well, you may consider wanting to have a chainsaw crew go down the line ahead and eliminate that situation, and get that down so that it doesn't fall on somebody. Instructions and assignments not clear. Again, back to communications again. Let everybody know what the plan is. Tell them why this is the plan and what you hope to accomplish by it. Make sure everybody is totally clear on this information. No communication link with crew members or supervisor. Now, again, communications. This is something that gets beat to death, it seems, but it's probably the most important thing. Everybody needs to be able to communicate what's going on around them, or what they can expect to have go on around them. If command finds out about a situation that may be developing nearby, they need to be able to communicate that to the crew in that area so that they can take appropriate action. If the crew in that area sees a situation developing, they need to be able to communicate that back to their supervisor so that they can, make sure that they can take appropriate action and get instructions on what they want done. Number 8, construct a line without a safe anchor point. I mean, if you don't have a safe anchor point on the line, the fire's going to probably burn around your line. And that happens, you may end up finding fire coming at you from the backside. Now you're pinched off. That's not fun at all. Always construct your line with a safe anchor point, whether it's a stream, a roadway, a power line, a pipeline, a pre-cut fire break, whatever it is. It could be any number of things. A rock slide, whatever, something that's is going to be a secure point to anchor that line to. Number 9, building fire line downhill with fire below. I'll tell you right now, that fire can roll up that hill a hell of a lot faster than you can. There's no way you're going to outrun a fire uphill. This was actually the situation that killed 19 people on Storm King Mountain in Colorado. I believe back in 94 or 95. Number 10, attempting a frontal assault on fire. This should never be done unless you're in a situation like maybe a field fire on a low wind day with high relative humidity, low flame heights where you can get in front of it and knock it down in a hurry with a hose. Just put a wet line down in front of it. But other than that, this should never be done. Number 11, unburned fuel between you and the fire. When you cut your line, burn out between your line and the fire to expand that line, to make that line wider. Remember, the black will not burn again. You don't have to worry about that. Number 12, cannot see main fire and not in contact with anyone who can. Lookouts. We're back to lookouts again. You need to have somebody there who knows what they're looking at, has the experience and the knowledge, and is able to communicate what they see going on very succinctly. Number 13, on a hillside where rolling debris can ignite fuel below. I have been here, and I can tell you it's scary. That one very easy way to help mitigate this is by cutting a cup trench. Get those Pulaskis out and dig that cup trench and make it a good solid one, so that if something like a pine cone falls off of a tree and that pine cone happens to be burning, hits that cup trench and it doesn't go any further. Number 14, weather is getting hotter and drier. Well, common sense to anyone in this business. If it's getting hotter and it's getting drier, that means the fire is going to burn hotter and stronger and more dangerous. Number 15, wind increases and/or changes direction. This comes back to paying attention to your fire weather forecasts. Fire weather forecasts can tell you things like, there's going to be a front coming through around 2 o'clock and you can expect a 90-degree shift in the wind. So you don't want to be working that eastern front when that comes through, because that's suddenly going to become your head fire. Number 16, getting frequent spot fires across the line. This is a condition normally that you'll see under conditions of extreme fire behavior. Very hot, very dry days, very high Haynes index, 5 or a 6 on a Haynes index. And this can happen. I mean, you get spot fires across the line, you can suddenly have fire coming up behind you and not even know it. You got to pay attention, very close attention. Number 17, terrain and fuels make escape to safety zones difficult. Honestly, when you're planning your escape routes and your safety zones, do try to make them as easy as possible. Like I mentioned earlier, Storm King Mountain, 19 perished because they couldn't get away from the fire. They were running uphill away from a fire. That's not going to work. You need to plan escape routes and safety zones that can ferry the firefighters away from a bad situation in a hurry with as much ease as possible. And number 18, as crazy as it sounds, they wouldn't be here if it hadn't been done. Taking a nap near a fire line. Gee, being asleep next to a wildfire, I wonder how that could go wrong. Yes, folks, it has been known to happen. Again, another reminder, remember, LCES, Lookouts, Communications, Escape Routes, and Safety Zones. These are the key to the 10 and 18. Remember them, they can save your life.